listos. Pues bien, vayan siendo bienvenidos todos, por favor, todas las personas que se van conectando, bienvenidos. Ya se están empezando a conectar muchas personas y nos da muchísimo gusto recibirlos una vez más en este webinar regional que tenemos en este mes de noviembre y que va a tener un tema súper interesante y con una participación de tres grandes expertos en este tema justamente. Entonces va a ser algo padrísimo. Ya nos están empezando a saludar, mi queridísimo Héctor, ya por ahí están mandando saludos desde Querétaro. Oscar Briceño ya nos está diciendo ahí que nos está viendo. Las demás personas, ¿de dónde nos están viendo? Ya hay un número importante de personas que ya se están conectando. Entonces por ahí ya también dice Edwin Osers. Saludos no es cierto, sí, Edwin Osers desde República Dominicana, Oscar de Chile, también está Hugo Martínez desde Tacubaya, Vaya de la Ciudad de México, Susana Chico desde Chile, Fernando Espinosa, mi queridísimo Fernando desde la Ciudad de México, y bueno, pues sean bienvenidos a todos ustedes a este gran espacio. También Kira Chavarría, saludos desde Costa Rica para todas las personas que están ahí conectándose y obviamente a nuestros panelistas del día de hoy que ya están aquí presentes y de quien nos va a hablar un poquito más adelante Héctor Villarreal. Pero obviamente antes de irnos con el tema, vamos a hacer un poquito de tiempo también para explicarles obviamente de algunas cosas que tienen que saber de los webinars. Estos webinars los organizamos mensualmente en Proyectum con la idea de extender cada vez más las ideas, de ideas nuevas, ideas creativas que tiene mucha gente de la cual hablar y obviamente que son importantes que sean conocidas. También es importante que sepan que para obtener la constancia de participación para este y todos los webinars que organiza Proyectum, la única condición para que ustedes obtengan el PDU es contar con mínimo de 55 minutos conectados dentro de este webinar, ¿no? Obviamente que tengan una participación activa, que nos ayuden con sus dudas y esas dudas, obviamente, esas preguntas que puedan tener que van a ser respondidas, las vayan anotando en el espacio de preguntas y respuestas que se encuentra en la barra de abajo de Zoom. Ahí hay un espacio que viene una Q y una A o Q&A y una P y una R que son preguntas y respuestas. Ese va a ser el espacio justamente para poder colocar las preguntas que le quieren hacer llegar a nuestros panelistas y que van a ser respondidas al final. También las pueden hacer por el chat, pero de repente en el chat, por la cantidad de mensajes que pueden llegar a escribirse, se nos pueden ir. Entonces es mucho más fácil que ocupemos este espacio de Q&A. Así que, bueno, sin más, quiero presentarles a Héctor Villarreal. Él es de Proyectum República Dominicana, aunque es mexicano 100% y un Dodger de corazón. Él va a estar coordinando este webinar, así que, queridísimo Héctor, bienvenido, por favor.
Muchísimas gracias, Hugo, por la invitación, por la bienvenida, por abrir este espacio para Nathalie, para Ron y para mí, para compartirles algo que a mí me gusta mucho porque lo he vivido. O sea, el Codevelopment Action Learning es algo que yo he experimentado, sus beneficios inclusive como participante y también como como coach de este proceso. Entonces, Nathalie, Ron, thank you for joining us. Y quisiera también decirles, todos los que necesiten interpretación simultánea, hay el botón de interpretación que está abajo, es como el mundito dentro de, ustedes pueden hacer clic ahí y seleccionar el idioma español. Nuestro intérprete, Daniel Rueda, que va a estar apoyándonos, que nos ha apoyado ya antes en otros de nuestros webinars, nos va a estar colaborando, haciendo la interpretación al español para que puedan ustedes escucharlo en su idioma. Muchas gracias a todos y bienvenidos. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Ron and Nathalie, it's such a pleasure to be here, to be interviewing you during this process, and for you to show us a little bit about CAL, and it's collaborative leadership, right? That's what's right now. It's kind of like a trend, isn't it? A bit. It's a little bit of a trend, I would say.
Well, it's always been important, but yes, it's been increasingly important today in today's world.
And well, I would like to they are part, Ron and Natalie, of the leadership group. It's a team it's a company that focuses on elevating leaders and teams. And before we start, I would like to formally introduce Natalie and Ron. They're both the authors of Codevelopment Action Learning for Business, and that's what we're going to be talking today, right? And Natalie is co-founder of the Co-Leadership Group. She's been working with focusing on the strengths of leaders and teams and has it's an author of several books, actually, right? Not only, this is not your first one, right?
Yeah, it's actually my second book, plus coaching ourselves guides and various articles. So it's yeah.
And Ron, now is this one your first book,
or yeah, this is my first book. Yeah.
And I would say that, and being an author as well, it's tough to write a book alone, but I would say it's even tougher to do it with someone else.
Right? Well, this one actually we're 4 authors. So when we're talking about teamwork and cross-discipline collaboration, we're 2 practitioners, 2 business leaders and coaches, and we've partnered with 2 university professors because there's one chapter that actually has the scientific research on the impact. So that was very important to us. So yes, we've lived the teamwork, Hector, even in writing our book. Yeah, we're very proud.
So you're walking the talk.
We are walking the talk, yes.
That's important. That's sometimes theory just stays there as a theory. Nice talking. Nice. I mean, everything sounds really nice, but when you try to apply it, it can become quite messy. And you have both the experience and also you have the reasoning. That why did you focus on this, right? So why focusing on collaborative leadership nowadays? Why is that important?
Well, collaborative leadership is critical for building high-performance teams. Here you can see on the slide here, research shows that teams prioritizing collaboration see 20 to 25% increase in productivity and make better decisions 66% of the time. So it's in today's complex world, collaborative, working together to find these solutions, because often the solutions are not complicated, they're complex. So they require more than 1 or 2 or 3 different expertise. And you see a lot of the combinations of different sectors and different industries coming together.
Natalie, would you like to?
Well, there's always a place for individual leadership, but when we're looking at innovation will really come through the synergy of disciplines. And today in various organizations, the status quo is really not working. And we need to look at different ways of how we can work together. And more in organizations and with the clients that we work with, they're asking us, well, I have people that are working, but everybody's working in the silos. Or I have teams that have so many interdependencies. How can I improve teamwork? How can I ensure that people can work better together so that we can co-create solutions? And everything is around performance and elevating as well leadership. So those are some of the reasons. And we're faced with so many complex problems right now, so many complex issues when we're looking at dilemmas related to the environment, to the economic situation, the social situations. And so we need more and more various disciplines coming together so that we can innovate, and it comes through cross collaboration. Yeah.
And talking about Cal, how does Cal provides this opportunity for collective leadership? Because there are many ways, there are many methods. What would you say are what differentiates Cal from other similar methods of?
Yeah. So CAL falls within a collective intelligence methodology. There's many that exist, World Cafe and Open Space. Even we can think about design thinking, liberating structures. So what fundamentally is CAL? And so CAL is bringing together 5 to 8 people. So we're talking about a small group methodology. And in this methodology, we all have a common goal. And I don't know, Hector, if you'd like to show the slide, and maybe people will have the visual there. So the purpose of CAL is that we're coming together, this group, because we have a common objective, and there is one person that will bring a challenge, a goal, a dilemma, and we will all work together to co-create new solutions, because we want to accelerate this goal. We want to be able to move forward. And the most important also in CAL, which you might see less in other kind of problem-solving methodologies, is that we all have this goal where we want to learn from each other. And if we want to innovate, having a learning mindset brings you in much more of a growth mindset. And it's also a mindset where, you might be in marketing, you might be in operations, or you might be in another department, but we're all saying that we can learn from each other. So this is very powerful, because sometimes we're very experts in our field, and we're not sure that someone from another field or another experience can actually bring various solutions. We're looking at an effective methodology that a session is between 90 minutes to 120 minutes. So that's very, very effective. And a lot of people are asking us, Hector, well, we're bringing leaders together, or we're bringing peers together. How can people feel comfortable, of sharing, of co-coaching each other? Well, we're actually going to be using a 7-step methodology that you see in this wheel. And this wheel creates a psychological safety. It's kind of a coaching model, where you see that there's a step where a topic is actually prepared. And within the session, we follow each of these steps to open new possibilities, and the most important is to move forward and to also have takeaways and applications. So the 3 words really in terms of the outcomes of CAL is innovation, teamwork, and learning.
So and this is not only it is not only just a theory. You've applied this already, right?
Yes, actually, CAL has been implemented in 3 types of areas. So community of practices, it's used for team development. It's also used for leadership and executive development. And it's been implemented in various industries and in various contexts. So as you can see on this slide, so it's been used in the private sector, very much in the finance sector, in the banking, insurance, the retail, like for example in the hotel industry, in the Decathlon is in France and around the world selling sports gear. It's also in the IT sector. We've seen our firm and our colleagues have implemented CAL as well in the public sector, in the government, in municipalities, and here in Quebec, alcohol, for example, is regulated. So the organization that sells the alcohol has implemented many co-development groups. Community of practices are accelerated for business entrepreneurs. So business entrepreneurs, small business entrepreneurs are coming together to accelerate their goals, accelerate their businesses, be better leaders, as well as professional associations, like, for example, human resource professionals that have been coming together, financial planners, different professionals that are coming in their professional association. And as you can see also in the social sector, so we've implemented groups for women immigrants to help them integrate when they arrive in the country using this methodology. And as well, the last part is in universities. So actually, CAL is used by professors in their classes, and CAL has actually won in 2018 a prize in the business faculty of the University of Montreal, which is HEC Montréal, as one of the most innovative pedagogical approaches.
Okay, so there's experience and there's validation that this structure and seven-step method works.
Yeah,
but in another.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, and in the book, in our new book, we've documented some specific cases from some of the companies that I've just mentioned, and as well, we have a chapter on 10 years of scientific research with hundreds of groups that demonstrated the impacts. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of how to make it happen, okay, I like the steps. I want to make it happen. There's some pre-work from my experience, and I have to do a disclaimer here. I was a user of CAL, and in terms was it last year, and was it last year or 2 years ago? Time flies.
Many times, I think.
Yeah, and Ron played a pivotal role here, and maybe Ron, you can help us, because there are different roles to play in CAL, right? And you have to be very, very clear on what your role is and what you're doing in order to be successful. I mean, it's not like, hey, just come out together and let's start talking. It's not as simple as that.
Absolutely, Hector. The three roles that you see up on the screen are the client coachee, the consultant coachees, and the facilitator. And the role I played when we were doing it with you was the facilitator. So the facilitator has to set the table, has to set the experience based on, and you go back to that circle, you based on those 5 principles that Natalie had talked about. And that's a very, very important role to set the table for that. And yeah, I would say that's the most important part.
So I have a question here that's coming up, and we'll answer it live from Melissa Gonzalez. Melissa, I don't know where you're from because you haven't written it, but Melissa, she has a question. She says, "How do you define the amount of sessions that will be required?"
Okay, so that's such an interesting session. Okay, so it really depends. As we mentioned, either it can be in a community of practice, either it can be for team development, team coaching, or it can be in a leadership development journey. So if I'm taking the example of a community of practice, let's say would be project managers that are coming together, or human resource professionals that are coming together, the optimal number would be that each participant would have a chance to take the role of a client coachee. So if you have 5 to 8 participants, then you would have 5 to 8 sessions. But sometimes that is not possible because of the resources, because of the time. So the most important is that if we decide that we're going to be 4 times together, that we actually say, what are some of the themes that we want to be able to discuss together, and who could bring a topic of their practice. So that's why this preparation phase is so important, because we want the topic to be of interest to the group. In team development, often we can do 1 or 2 sessions that's integrated in the process that the team will want to have in place to improve their teamwork. And in leadership development, either it's integrated after a training course, or either it's in a cohort, and then again it would be between 4 and 8 sessions depending on the timing that you want.
Yeah, and those sessions usually are anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks apart.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You can do a pilot. Often we encourage our clients to do a pilot and just start with one session. Just live it, experience it, see how you react. And it's incredible to see the power when the demonstration is well done, the power of the method, and to be in co-creation with the group of how we want to deploy it in our organization.
Yeah. And let's dive into the preparation.
Yes.
Let's dive into the preparation, because I remembered to have homework when I did, and as in everything almost everything in life, homework is key for success in many initiatives. So. You need to open the Cal toolbox, from what I recall, right? You need to actually go and do the work in order for a Cal session to be completely successful. It's not that less preparation obviously is going to impact you, but it's still the collaboration and the conversation can be quite powerful. But preparation, it's quite necessary for this.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go back to that wheel, you can see that, you go back to the wheel, you can see that step 1, the client is to present, and we have 90 to 120 minutes. So we want the client to be able to be efficient, effective, and concise and clear as possible in delivering their topic when they talk and they present their topic to the group. So that's one of the main objectives for step 0. It's also to think and sort of sometimes clarify. As a coach, sometimes people bring a problem or an objective, and it's not clear right at that moment, and they need help with clarifying that. And so we start with the step 0, and the tool we use, we help start the client to clarify a little bit more closer. Obviously, in the process, when in step 3, and I'm jumping ahead, of course, but there is an opportunity to reframe that as well. But that's the main goal and the main objective for step 0 of preparing that topic. But how did you feel when you, Hector, when you went through that process and you had to fill and do, I'll put in quotes, homework for the session?
I have to admit that at the beginning, when you have these questions, you have to actually think. Yeah. Most of the time, and I have to admit, we're not in a thinking mode. We're just in responding mode. I already know something, and I respond with something that I already know. I don't have to think and reflect and really analyze what's behind something. And that's what the preparation sheet actually helped me with. So it's like, okay, what is the actual issue? Is it the issue, something that I was doing, the team was doing, that the market was not responding, or, I mean, what's the deal here? And that made me put myself into that reflection to actually focus on what I wanted to talk about in the Cal group when we actually did the session. And that thinking sheet, was important. I had to invest. I wouldn't say much time, because it's not long. I mean, to fill it out, you don't spend that much time. I mean, it's not but you really have to think and focus. And I think that's one of the issues that we currently have in the current distraction environment that we have. I mean, we have all these distractions all the time, and you just shutting down everything so you can actually think about something. And that was important. Just focusing on it and being able to do it. And for me, it was quite enlightening. They were okay, what's the issue? And sometimes I was not clear about the issue, and I think that's also important, because if you're not totally clear, the group can help you clear it out.
Absolutely.
I think Cal can be quite powerful for that.
Yeah.
And it's important also to see, are there any sensitivities in the topic? Are there any confidentiality issues? Who's going to be in the group? How is this topic going to also bring insights and takeaways for the group? So because it's different to implement CAL when you're implementing it, in a team or in a leadership or executive journey versus in a community of practices with people that are coming from different companies.
Yeah. And when you think about it, when to implement it, it impacts how you do implement it as well.
Absolutely.
Right? I remember this. You mentioned this at the beginning. Communities of practice, high performance team development, and leadership development. These are the three that are, but actually can be used in almost anything when you have an issue and you need support from a group of peers as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're seeing a lot of leaders and managers, executives that have been initiated to CAL. They feel that they've become better leader coaches because with the wheel, it enables you to build these critical human skills, leadership, collaborative skills, which is the art of listening, asking questions, mutual feedback, and reflecting on your practice. And so those are very, very important skills when we want to be creative, we want to innovate, we want to collaborate with others. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I integrating your learning into your practice, so that as you learn from that experience. It's not just a repetition and continual, and you're getting that from your peers, and there's also other steps that you also get support from them as well in your project or your objective that you're looking to accelerate.
Mm-hmm. So I have another question before we go into the survey I think we can go first into the survey, and then I'm going to ask Oscar's question that we have here. Mm-hmm. And the question is, we want our participants here at the webinar to respond which experience they would like to explain, to know how it was applied. So the question that I'm putting into it is ¿en qué ámbito te gustaría conocer cómo se aplicó el método CAL? Tenemos 3. Entonces, para que selecciones si es en una comunidad de práctica o en desarrollo de equipos de alto desempeño o desarrollo ejecutivo. Entonces, tenemos los 3 casos, pero por términos de tiempo quisiéramos enfocarnos en los que ustedes nos den un poquito más, y ya tenemos la mitad de respuestas. Vamos a dejar unos 20 segundos, unos 15, 20 segundos más. Tenemos ahí varias opciones. It's quite even, I would say.
Is it? Between what? What do you see?
We see results. Yeah. We see. Okay, so I think we're 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm gonna end the poll.
Okay.
I'm going to share the results. Now you should be able to see it on your screen. So it was the executive development and leadership development by just 1 vote. So hopefully we'll be able to do the that's related to the high performance teams as well. So that's quite close. Mm-hmm. So let's go into that. Let's go into how you've been able to implement the leadership and executive development. I'm going to show the case in the screen, and please, Nathalie, Ron, if you can share with us your experience in that in that environment.
Yeah. While you're changing slides there, Hector, I want to also mention we've done this for many years in French. And as you've seen previously, one of the first book that Nathalie wrote was in French. So this has been going on for 30 years or more in some form or another in the Francophone world. And this is the first time that we've written a book that has come out in English. The opportunity is for us to share with the rest, the non-Francophone world. So going back to some of the points that you had made earlier, Hector, has this been done before? Yeah, we've done this, and our colleagues have done this in Belgium, in France, here in Canada, and some of the other Francophone-speaking parts of the world. So I just wanted to add that while you're there.
And it's starting internationally as well for maybe over 10 years. Like CAL has been implemented also in other countries around the world, but mostly it started really in the Francophone world. So I find it so interesting to see that the survey results are mentioning that they really see an opportunity to implement CAL for leadership and executive development as well as team development, because those are so important priorities today. So there's two ways that I've personally been implementing CAL. So in leadership development programs where you might have different training sessions, either one day or maybe half days. So for example, if you have a module on mobilizing a team, so you'll provide your leaders with content on this, and then afterwards you actually organize co-development action learning sessions where individuals, these leaders, will actually be bringing their own challenges regarding their own teams, and they will be co-coaching each other with the 6 steps. The 7th step is actually the accountability phase, but within these various steps. There's been some of these programs that I've been involved has been in the financial sector as well as in the public sector with a lot of success. In one of the programs with executives that I have implemented, actually the CAL was the last group session in the cohort. And actually, because the group had evolved so much that we coach actually the leaders, so they were the ones that self-facilitated themselves because also they had built relationships. So that is in a cohort-based leadership development journey where you alternate between a formal training and a CAL session. Also, Co-Development Action Learning has been implemented using only CAL sessions, and that is in complement of maybe other journeys that exist. We find that often senior leaders do not want to go in traditional learning anymore. You know, they've done many courses, etc., but they really want to connect with their peers. They're living so many challenges that they want to be together. So a co-development action learning journey, as I mentioned before, may be between 5 to 8 sessions with a launch, with the co-creation of the journeys and the themes, and also, well, I come from Montreal and I'm French Canadian, so we love to celebrate. So there's always a way to celebrate at the end.
Don't worry, we Latin people will love that too.
Exactly. It has to be a lot of fun, you know. So this has been implemented also in the financial industry, in universities, the social sector, in various industries where they've actually organizations as well that have less means, that don't have the opportunity also to put in place leadership development programs, have also used CAL as this way where we can co-coach each other.
Yeah. One of the parts of the social sector is the healthcare sector. This has been extensively in Quebec. In the healthcare sector, some of the hospitals that we have here. So you imagine that on an issue or a dilemma, you have the multiple practitioners around, whether it's nurses, whether it's doctors, surgeons, and they're using co-development action learning to help them move forward, but also help them accelerate some of the projects that they need. So in some hospitals, they have upwards of 50 co-development groups going on at the same time. Another in the social sector is, for instance, some of the cities that we've worked with, where the city has got together and there's perhaps a fireman, a policeman, a librarian, someone in the administration part, someone in the engineering part, and they've gotten together to solve some of the issues that some of the people have. What's kind of particular about that is that they often meet in where the client is. So if the fireman is the client, they're going to meet in the fire station. If the policeman is the client, they're going to meet in the police station, librarian in the library, kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. And also, one of the success factors is the composition of the group. So where we've seen that there's a lot of success is actually leaders that are coming from different departments. So the cohorts are actually being created intentionally so that there's bridges that are created between different departments or different units. And it's been really, that's where we've seen the cross collaboration really being activated. Yeah.
Yeah, I would also draw on another example is in the gaming industry, the video gaming industry. We have a well-known client in the video gaming industry where we brought together, there are 13 producers of games, and they're the ones that need to bring this to market, very project management oriented, but they operated in silos. And so what we wanted to do is not necessarily break down the silos. What we wanted to do was build bridges to the silos. And these 13 producers of 13 different games in this one particular organization got together and they started to share things to how they learn, how they can do things technology-wise, but also organization-wise, how they manage and lead their teams and things like that.
Can we share maybe also an example for team development? Because it was there was about 50-50 how, yeah.
So it's a little different from other ways of leadership development, because leadership development, mostly people think I go there, I do some exercises, I do some team I learn some stuff, and then I go to apply it. But here's it's quite a different way of learning, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is not, we're not using theoretical cases, we're not doing role playing here. We're really in groups where we have this common mindset. We want to learn from each other, and we want to be able to accelerate our projects and our goals, co-create solutions. So it's very, very action oriented. And that's what really speaks to people, because this is not theory. This is, we're helping each other with our own realities. Yeah. And
that answers the question, what is the return on investment? Whether it's financial or time, and the return on investment or the ROI of this approach is extremely high. As Natalie mentioned, you're working on real live cases. So it's not something theoretical. So it's not about going back, doing the training and then going back and forgetting about it. It's actually, you're working on the real life project, and then you're bringing it back to the office, because that's the action plan in step 5. But going to the high performance team, how we see a high performance journey is usually in different components. And so the first part is self-awareness individually, self-awareness collectively. You create a team vision. You may perhaps look at the priorities of the team, and then you're working a pact d'équipe or a team pact or working principles. And then we show people how to work together. And we show them various different options and different tools. And one way to do this is Codevelopment Action Learning, CAL.
And we had the question there of, well, how many sessions do we need to have? You see, in a manufacturing company, there was the director general decided, I my company is going through transformation, and we're only going to get through this by working together. And he really liked the CAL methodology, and he introduced it to his executive team. They were 9 people, and for 1 year, every month, they did a CAL session, and they each committed to each other that every month there would be one member of this executive team that would bring one of the important transformational projects, and they used the CAL session to help each other. And he's a real CAL ambassador. He says that, wow, it's been it really allowed their team to go to another level. And this is one of the cases in the book. We've done this as well. We have in the financial industry, there's one management team that has decided to do CAL sessions every quarter to accelerate new projects. Also, really, they've called it their innovation labs. And they actually decide to bring in employees so that there's more creative ideas. And they actually divide, there's usually 15 people, so they do 3 CAL sessions at the same time. In the hotel industry, they actually call it their Monday Codevs. So the leadership team, they're 15, and they come together either every month, 2 months. Sometimes we're very, very busy. They'll skip a month. But they're 18 people, and they do CAL sessions, so yeah.
So we have a couple of questions. Thank you, Natalie. We have a couple of questions. I would like to, before we share more about the principles and the keys for success, I would say there's 2 questions from Oscar and Juan Diego. And the first one is going to the agile environment and world, and it's first, what is the difference between this way of working and, for example, what an agile Scrum team does? I don't know if you're familiar. I can help you with that in a bit, but I think there's some similarities, I would say, but some critical differences, I would also say. I don't know who would like to take it.
Well,
For me,
go ahead. I think the major, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hector, but the major difference is that this is a peer learning approach, and learning is very, very essential to this approach. So that there's periods of time where at the beginning of a CAL session, everybody sets a learning intention. In step 6, we all review, what has the group learned? What have I learned? What has the client learned? And so that's extremely important. I don't know, Natalie, if you have something else to add.
Yeah, no, for me, that's really this opportunity. And I think all of these approaches are complementary. And I think it's really important that you work with your team and say, is it going to be at our offsite? Is it at a time where we'll be able to have a little more time to kind of step back as well to look at this? Is it also because we want to maybe involve other people in some of our groups to look at some of our challenges? I find also, like, one of the things is in the words of CAL, we use either you're going to accelerate a project, you're going to accelerate a goal, a dilemma. For me, it's really looking at where you want to be in 12 to 18 months. It's not going to be the technical operational problem that you're going to be using CAL to solve, So there's other methodologies for operational challenge, So for me, we want to have a kind of a longer horizon as well. Yeah. Hector, very well these 2 approaches. Yeah, it'd be great to have your perspective on it. Yeah.
In terms of an agile Scrum team, they have something to develop, something to work on, and something to deliver. Yeah. Very specific. So that's something. So when you're using CAL, sometimes what is there to deliver might not be so clear, because the problem might be not that clear either for the individual as well.
Yeah.
So Cal allows people to gain clarity of their own challenge through the conversation with others from the roles of the as a client coachee. The consultants can help you gain clarity and put some light into the whole issue. So that would be one thing. I think what Ron said about the learning, one is a learning journey, the other is in a production journey, I would say.
Yes.
There might be some overlap in terms, for example, an agile team, a scrum team has to learn or has in the process and embedding learning that is the retrospective. When you do a retrospective in an agile team, it's supposed to be for learning. And I'm saying it's supposed because most of the time it's not a learning approach, it's just who I'm going to blame because things are not working.
That's
approach.
right.
So it's more an evaluation approach. So you have to be very aware of these two different things. So I would say, for example, let's say several members of an agile team can create a Cal process for them to learn about how they're doing things. I would say sometimes groups they could be the same group. Or it could be different groups. Because, for example, if I'm a product owner, I might be having some issues managing my stakeholders. And during a Cal session, I would get feedback on how to do it from other people's perspectives from the team. So that could be a way of doing it.
Absolutely.
So I would probably say that this approach can support the learning process of an agile or of a Scrum team, but you have to be that there are two different things for two different goals. That would be.
Yeah, I would echo that, Hector. It's not or, it's and. It's about using the right tool for the right reason and the right situation, right? So sometimes, Cal can help teams, whereas another approach, design thinking or agile, will help teams in other issues. So Cal's, I would say, for the most part, is more strategic issues as opposed to agile. Sometimes it's very much operational and it's technical issues. So, but I say that knowing full well that, as you said, there's an overlap, but it's just having another tool in your toolbox so that you're not forced to just use one method or one approach because the issues are so complex.
And so there are certain keys or elements that have to be there for a Cal session to be successful, right? And can you amplify that? I think we have something here that we can share, but can you expand about this keys for success on?
Yeah, for sure. The most important for me, I would summarize it. There's various elements on the slide here, but for me, Hector, the three most important is, first of all, purpose. Purpose. So that means, we need to have the why. Why are we doing this? Is it a need for innovation? Is it that we want to improve teamwork? Is it because, we want to create an environment where we want to learn? What is the need? Is it the community of practice? Is it for teams? Is it more for leadership development? Those needs to be very, very clear. And the project that have worked the most is that there is an alignment between strategic directions and also the intentions of the group. Let's say, for example, for the leadership development journeys, is there a leadership competency profile? In an organization, often you say, okay, to be a leader in this organization, there's 5 or 10 competencies that we need to build, that we need to grow. It can be visioning, it can be talent mobilization, change management. Okay, so then that becomes our anchor. It becomes our lighthouse. The challenges and the goals that people will be bringing in the Cal, they need to be aligned with this project, this leadership development competency. For team development, Well, is there an agreement with the team that we need to break down silos, that we need to work together, that we need to build bridges? You know, there's a reason that we need to move away from our silos and to be more into a co-leadership, you know? So that is very, very important. There needs to be purpose and alignment, and then it's group composition. Group composition, as I mentioned, you know, when it's not going to work, it's not going to work when there's going to be significant competition within a group or within a team. It's not going to work either also if a leader is completely in top down, if we're in an environment where we're not in a learning environment, where you talked, Hector, about a blame culture, you know? So co-development action learning is not a conflict resolution method. So if there is significant conflict in a team, we need to use mediation. We need to do much more work before starting to use certain of these methodologies, you know, and of course, you know, having doing a pilot, as I mentioned, for me, that is the most successful way. Work with the people that want to work with you. There's always usually a group of leaders that are change catalysts, that want to change, that want to try new things. Go and try it out, you know, with where you feel that there's an opportunity and some of the right conditions are in place. But for me, those would be the most important: purpose, alignment, and group composition.
Ron, which are your favorites?
Well, I agree with Natalie, of course, but I also think that if you can have ongoing assessment of how we're doing, and so that's, you know, step 7, so that there is a follow-up and accountability. So there's an accountability piece in this. So as we were mentioning, that perhaps you're doing it every 4 to 6 weeks. So the client from the previous session comes into the next session and talks about where they are in terms of their action plan. So for me, that's also important because there's momentum and it keeps it going. I would also echo that what Natalie says about alignment. You know, you're working on real life projects. So these priorities are aligned with the strategy of your organization or your team. And that helps people focus and working on the real stuff.
There's someone who raised their hand, Marielos. If you can, Marielos, si puedes poner la pregunta por ahí en el chat o en el Q&A, por favor. And there's a final question. I think we have 2 minutes for this question. Just how to ensure time that every time the people participate in time to the sessions, and that the effort doesn't get lost through time.
Well, one of the ways is, if you can go back to the tool that the slide on the tool. One of the things that we always recommend is using a tool like this, and you have the QR code, so you get access to both of those tools, Step 0 and the Cal Think Sheet. But one of those things is that people have a Cal Think Sheet, so that everything, you fill it in and you fill it out, and there's a Cal Think Sheet. Every person has one of those for every session. So, you know, the idea here is, in learning, we want to reflect on that experience. So, and without reflection, experience is just repetition. So that's hugely important for us. I don't know, Natalie, is there other things that...
I'm wondering, Hector, if you could put the slide with the wheel, you know?
Wait.
There you go.
Yeah, there. Okay. So in a Cal session, one participant will spend 6 to 10 minutes presenting their topic. People will then go into step 2 to ask some coaching questions, which will allow the step 3 to reframe. Then we're arriving in the step 4, which the client coachee will be representing their objective, their goal, and how can the group help them. And this is the ideation phase. So all kinds of post-its, new ideas, so that we can be creative. It's also a time where if I want to support the client coachee after the session, I can identify the way that I'd like actually to support this person after the session. So when we do it live or online, we have yellow post-its for the ideas. We have the blue post-its for the support, which is absolutely extraordinary, because often a lot of people feel very alone, and now they're seeing that they have colleagues to say, hey, this is the way I can help you. This is the way that I can send you this tool. I want to take a coffee with you. We have a director that had a significant project that he brought to his team, and all of his team members were putting their names on these blue post-its, and he accelerated this project, which got implemented 3 months later in 5 cities in Quebec. And one of the things that we keep is actually this step 4, all of the post-its, the yellow ones, which is very important, because this keeps us as a record of all of these creative ideas that came out of this session. And also, of course, the learning insights, once it's at step 6. Yeah.
So we only have 4 minutes left, and I have to put I want the participants to be able to share with them their ideas and with the exit poll that we have.
Yes.
Estoy colocando por acá la encuesta de salida, si nos pueden ayudar contestando mientras voy colocando aquí información para donde ustedes puedan aprender más en la pantalla. Por ahí la información que tiene por ahí, pues, por el libro. Pueden también obtener un código de descuento para obtener el libro con un 20% de descuento en la página del editor de Routledge, válido hasta diciembre. Y en el chat también estoy colocando los enlaces de LinkedIn de Natalie, de Ron y míos, para los que quieran conectarse de manera directa, ¿no? O sea, ahí les compartimos que nos puedan ahí ir contestando la encuesta que les aparece en pantalla, por favor, para que nos den su retroalimentación, que para nosotros es muy, muy, muy importante, para que puedan indicarnos. Les comentamos que también estamos en la última pregunta, que nos indiquen si están abiertos a participar en un piloto de manera gratuita. Si quieren experimentar CAL de manera gratuita, ustedes podrían hacerlo. O sea, déjenos ahí la información al haberse registrado y darle ahí. Los vamos a conectar para que puedan experimentar de qué se trata todo esto, para trabajar en un piloto gratuito. También vamos a tener el taller de certificación en marzo del próximo año. Contesten todas ahí. Y inclusive podemos hacer una sesión gratuita con un equipo al interior de una organización también. Natalie y Ron están muy interesados en expandir a CAL dentro de otros países y Latinoamérica. Entonces esperamos por ahí tener ahí la información. Y pues aquí la información de Co-Leadership Group. Y Hugo, ¿estás por ahí?
Claro que sí, amigo. Aquí estoy interesadísimo en este tema, que suena muy bien. Y bueno, pues obviamente ya estamos cerrando el evento. La verdad es que se me pasó a mí muy rápido. No sé ustedes, pero a mí se me pasó muy rápido. Y antes de irnos, quiero darles algunos pequeños anuncios antes de irnos, obviamente.
Como dicen en México, los anuncios parroquiales.
Exactamente, algunos anuncios parroquiales antes de irnos. Obviamente, vamos a tener próximamente, el próximo 18 de noviembre, vamos a comenzar con algo que se llama Días Proyectum, en donde vamos a tener cursos PMP, cursos de riesgos, de enfoques híbridos y DSM, con un 20% de descuento. Y obviamente para todas las personas que nos están viendo en estos momentos, pueden escribirnos e ir preguntando por el curso de su preferencia, ¿no? Para que ya vayan aprovechando ahora que vienen los aguinaldos. Vamos a buscar otra certificación, ya sea de riesgos, enfoques híbridos, de ACM. Si aún no cuenta con la PMP, pues yo creo que es un muy buen momento para irse preparando. Y obviamente tenemos un próximo webinar, el último del 2024, que sería el 18 de diciembre a las 12 horas. Vamos a tener un cierre de año Proyectum. Vamos a tener también un invitado sorpresa, ya que Héctor puso definitivamente la vara muy alta. Entonces, para ese próximo webinar definitivamente debe de haber una sorpresa también muy buena. Entonces, están invitados todos ustedes. y agradeciendo obviamente que nos ayuden a contestar la encuesta de salida y recordarles que en próximos días estarán recibiendo su constancia de participación aquellas personas que han cumplido con el requisito de 55 minutos conectados. De ahí en fuera, mi queridísimo Héctor, agradeciendo obviamente que hayan participado, algo que quieran mencionar antes de irnos.
Well, just Natalie, Ron, thank you so much. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and it finally came to happen. Just your closing remarks, Ron, Nath.
It's been a pleasure, Hector, to have this opportunity, and I really hope that it'll be a spark for all of you. I think it's so important to try and bring new practices in our organizations for more innovation, more teamwork, and more collaborative leadership. So, Hector, all the best in all of the next steps, and we're there to support you. And thank you for Projectum for this opportunity. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Ron?
Oh, I'm all good. All good. Thanks very much, Hector and Hugo and Danielle in the back there.
Yes.
Hopefully we didn't speak too fast for you. But thank you very much. If you need anything, we're here to support you. We want you to enjoy the impacts of Cal.
Thank you so much. Y gracias a todos por participar. Tuvimos personas de todo el continente. Un gusto estar aquí con ustedes. Nos vemos en la próxima. See you on the next one.
Hasta
Muchas
luego.
gracias. Hasta luego.